Welcome everyone to my AMA. I got to start sharing my screen properly here so you can see everything.
You gonna record?
Yep, I am recording. And this time I actually turned on translation, or not translation, closed captioning. Usually somebody else does that for me. But I did it. I got it. And one more, I believe it is. There we are. Okay. And we should go here. Perfect. All right. Welcome, everyone, to my AMA for March 24. I have about 6 or 7 questions, not a lot, kind of like what I did last week. I didn't do too many last week because it was St. Patrick's Day, and my wife and I headed over to my mom's for dinner, which was nice. I actually, not to get on the personal side of things, but I saw my sister. She lives about a mile away. We're a pretty close family, and I saw her. I haven't seen her much through the whole pandemic. Went to her house on Wednesday, saw everybody on Thursday over at my mom's, and then we went to a local pizzeria joint with my brother yesterday and last night, or on Tuesday, and then last night my mom came over and we watched. She loves Liam Neeson, so getting a lot of my family in this week. So I am going to Florida next week, so I'm gonna need a break from them. But, so on that, yes, next week I am going to Florida, so there's not going to be any AMA or any class or anything like that. The following week, I do have another AMA scheduled, and then I'm going to start looking into more classes again. On the any updates for my site, I have started a new tutorial, and it's security. So I just have the first lesson in there, but I have a few of them recorded. I'll be adding them over the course of the next week, 2 weeks. I do have them recorded so I can keep working on it while I'm down in Florida. So I'm going to show you that here. Let's see here. It's basically what this tutorial is going to focus on. Let's see, tutorials, and it's for Apple security. Oops, it looks like I have it in the wrong spot. It's not alphabetical. Oh, because I added the Apple in there. But essentially what this is going to be is just lessons on security for your Mac, your iPad, and iPhone. And essentially what I'm doing with these lessons here is it's my first foray into combining, multiple devices into a single lesson. Apple is moving more and more towards everything being pretty much the same. When you do your username and passwords, on the Mac you go to System Preferences, or you go to the Preferences in Safari, and on the iPhone and the iPad you go to the Settings and you go to Passwords. But outside of that, you turn them on and it works relatively the same. If you want to block contacts from a specific app, you go to System Preferences on the Mac and you go to Security and Privacy. On the iPad and the iPhone, you go to Settings and you go to Security and Privacy. So as you can see, they're very similar. So with my new setup here, what I'm able to do is basically, like you're looking at the Mac here, and what I'm able to do is say, okay, now let's go and take a look at the iPad. This is what it looks like on the iPad, and here's what it looks like on the iPad. Whoops, that's here. On the iPad and the iPhone. So it's more of a combination. So I really have to explain it once. You're going to, learn how to work it on all 3 devices. Still going to be short, hopefully, 5 to 7 minutes. I do my explanation and show you how to do it on each device. So this is my, this security tutorial is kind of like my first foray to see how this goes. So if I'm, always eager to hear your comments, but wait until I get a few of them up there. And, if all goes well, I'll just keep kind of adding into this and hopefully help people with, security and things like that. So that's what's new with the site. And now let's get back over to my AMA, and we'll keep this one short as well. A little bit about me for those that are new to, where is it? It's not working. You can do it. There we go. Let's go back. Okay, a little bit about You can do it. So, I don't know where it is now. But I'm Dan Wasink, owner, trainer, everything about Dan's Tutorials. I have about 1,600 lessons on my site. They are all free to view. I did make them free to view a while ago. But if you like what you see, I only ask that you become a member and help support it. It is just a two-person, actually one person, but my wife does help out when she can. And but it's a two-person operation, one person primarily. I have about 30 years publishing experience in the magazine publishing primarily, although the online is catching up. I've worked as an Apple Genius for about 3 years, and also I work with 2 other people that were Apple Geniuses at a local school. I put in about 10 to 12 hours a week to keep my head in the game with Apple technology. They have about 1,200 iPads, Macs. I'm guessing about over 1,000. Let's just say it's easily over 1,000. So I help them out with that. So that's a little bit about me. Let's get to our first question here. This is probably going to be another shorter AMA, much like last week, and so that gives us a little bit more time for Q&A at the end. I have about 6 or 7 questions, and the first question is, I don't know why my computer is being so difficult today. What does resetting the SMC mean? So somebody put in a question on...
That was me.
Oh, okay, good. So basically, they're having issues with, like the hard drive, and then they reset the SMC, and it helps out. Am I understanding it right? It helps out every once in a while when you reset the SMC?
It solves the problem, whether it's the preference problem with the update, or I attached an external drive, and it kept on saying that you're not ejecting properly. And I restarted with the resetting the SMC. I have a Mac Mini, so you just pull it out of the back for 30 seconds, put it back in, and all the problems go away. But it's happening a little more and more. Computer's not that old. Why is that something I should be concerned with?
Not necessarily. I'm trying to get back to my slide. My slide is all messed up here. Here we go. Let's go. Here we go. There we go. Okay. No, it shouldn't be a big concern. The SMC, basically, it's the system control module or system management controller on the Apple devices. And essentially what that does, you probably looked it up a little bit, but for those that are not familiar with it, it handles presses of the power button, a lot of stuff with power. So I'm surprised that it works with, well, it could be USB with power through the USB, but basically power issues like if your battery's not charging, that's the first thing that we do at the school is we reset the SMC. If there's any thermal management problems going on, reset the SMC. It was one of the first things that we would do when I worked at the Apple store. If someone was having a problem, we would zap the PRAM is what they called it, and then we also reset the SMC. And then we would send the people on their way. I can't tell you, honestly, how often it worked because, we just send them off of their way. But in my personal experience, I'm not sure exactly if it works that well. I mean, it does work every once in a while, but it's not something you should rely on. The question is, why do you have to keep doing it? That's where you run into the problem. How old it was a Mac Mini, wasn't it?
Right. It's 2 years and 3 months.
Okay, that's not that old, so you shouldn't have a problem with that. And what operating system are you running on it?
I am running Catalina for right now.
Okay, and you have the latest version of Catalina on it?
Yes.
Okay.
All updated.
Okay. Is there a reason why you don't want to upgrade to Monterey?
I'm just in the middle of, I'm doing my last corporate project that will end in about 2 months. And now's not the time to
makes sense.
Reinvent the wheel.
Good thinking.
You know what I mean?
Good thinking.
Yeah.
So what I would do if I were you is if it's not that, I would just wait till your project is done and then upgrade to Monterey. That would be my next thing, is to make sure you have the latest
Right.
OS on there, and then see if that fixes it.
Yeah,
and a lot of times
it
that will
probably
fix it.
will. Yeah. Okay. So there's no harm being done.
No harm being
rate,
done.
but-
No, nope. And on the M1s, for those of you that have an M1, you can't even reset the SMC. It's not even an option anymore. It's
Right.
So.
Right. Right.
But no,
good.
it is not not that big of a deal. No, it's not
Okay.
gonna. It's not
Well,
gonna,
it helps do my workaround, get me moving, and that's the end of it, and then I'm good.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep. So what he would do when he resets the SMCs, he would restart the computer, hold down a specific key combination, and then the Mac would go and do some internal stuff that would reset that system management.
Well, actually, what I do with the Mac Mini is power down and then unplug the back of the Mac Mini. It has to be the back of the Mac Mini for like 30 seconds, then plug it back in, reboot, and that resets.
So you don't
SMC.
use the key command for it then?
No, you don't have to with the Mac Mini.
Okay.
In fact, I will tell you that if I have to use the key command, I have to have two people, because my fingers have to go like 5 keys
Right.
and my Mac Mini's in the back, so.
Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'd say keep doing what you're doing, and then upgrade to Monterey when you're at a comfortable spot. So.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Excuse me, Dan.
Yeah.
Are you going to record?
I am recording. Yep. So it'll be on my site. I record through my system, not through Zoom. So it'll be on. It's recording. It's recording.
Okay.
Yeah. When I do it through my system, it doesn't capture everyone, so you don't have to worry about being on, if I put it onto YouTube or anything like that. It's just through my software that I handles all this camera stuff and all that. It records it for me. So, no. All right. All right. Jack asked if that. Let me see. Make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay. So Jack asked about getting to a specific URL. He can get to it on his Mac, but he cannot get to it on his iPad. Is Jack with us? No? Okay. So I emailed him. So I'm not going to be able to clarify, what is going on, but I emailed him and I said, could you send me the link? Because really that shouldn't be happening. You should be able to get to any URL, from any device. I have not seen that, and I use my iPad quite a bit now. So I asked him, if he could send me the URL, and he did, and I was not able to get to it, but I was also not able to get to it on my Mac either. Now, what I did notice with the email, that the URL that he sent me, it was a tracking. It was using a link from Amazon tracking. So I'm wondering if he has the complete URL. That's the only thing I can figure out, is it wasn't the complete URL. So I asked him again if he could just, instead, he sent me a picture, screenshot. So I asked him again if he could just send me the link itself, and then I can kind of go through. So if I find anything out on that, I'll give an update down the road. But point being, you should be able to get, the iPad doesn't treat a URL any different than what the Mac does. So if you can get to it on the Mac, you can get to it on the iPad. If you can get to it on the iPad, you can get to it on the Mac. What I would recommend doing when you run into something like this is, if you can't get to it, try it in a different browser on the iPad. See if that works. Although my guess is it's probably something with the URL. And like I said, with his case, it was an Amazon tracking link. I looked up what, I could look up what it was, and it's some kind of a tracking thing. So somehow he's using, these sites can track where you're going and where you're coming from, and that's what this one is doing, is this link is tracking where he's going and where he's, that kind of thing. So my guess is it's something to do with that. So if he gets that to me, I'll follow up with that.
Does it happen? I mean, I've had the same thing happen to me on my iPhone. And in fact, it happened earlier today. I was trying to get to some website, an Adobe one I heard about, and that said Safari couldn't get it.
If you
And
run
that's
into
the
that,
iPhone 10 on the latest software.
okay, do this, Chris. Send me that link, and maybe, hopefully, Jack will send me the link too. Like I said, I emailed him earlier today, so he might not have gotten it yet. But if you can send me that link as well, and then what I'll do is I'll follow up in a later AMA on what I find out. I just need to see those URLs so I can decipher it and see what's going on. So, yeah.
Okay, because it was I thought I had Wi-Fi too. I mean, at times my Wi-Fi has been our stuff is not. It's been good, but okay.
Yeah, just send me the link and I'll. It's not going to be a Wi-Fi thing. It's something. It's got to be something with that link. You know, same thing with Jack. It's got to be something with his link. So, yeah, if anyone runs into that, send me the link and then I'll decipher it from there. So, all right, we're rolling through these. Next one. All right, so Frank, actually, he kind of earlier before I started the AMA, I was talking with Frank, and he kind of has this figured out. So Text Killer is an app, we discussed this a few weeks ago, that you can download for your iPhone, and much like the spam caller, what Text Killer does is it will block any spam texts, from the politicians and, things like that. And Frank said earlier that it actually has worked out great for him on the iPhone, but it didn't work on the iPad and on the Mac. He has since installed the app on the iPad, and he shouldn't have to pay for it again if he's using the same Apple ID. You can install apps on multiple devices as long as you're using the same Apple ID, so you won't have to pay for it again. And the text messages have stopped coming on his iPad as well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The question is, now how do we get it on the Mac? Text Killer, I did do a little bit of research on this, and Text Killer is, actually I couldn't find anything that is available on the Mac for spam, text spam kind of thing. So as far as I know, there isn't a quick solution to that. Frank, do you have an M1?
I have an M1, and that's what I'm using right now.
Okay.
The question I have then, everything goes, those messages go to the iCloud. My two computers are up to the iCloud. Yeah. So what I did then, I blocked all messages to come to the computer, or took them out of the cloud. Mm-hmm. Now I don't get any messages on my computer. And I'd like to get the message.
Right,
on the computer.
Right. This is what I would try and see if this works. Since you have an M1, you can do this. I'm going to go to my Mac here. I have an M1 MacBook Air, and you know that you can install iOS, iPad, and iPhone apps on your M1, right? Does everyone know that?
I did not know that.
Okay, so we're going to go to the Apple's App Store here, and you can only do this with M1s. So if you have an Intel Mac, sorry, you're out of luck. But I'm going to search for Text Killer, which is an iPad and an iPhone app. It is not a Mac app. So I go to Text Killer. And you're going to see up here, I have Mac apps and iPhone and iPad apps. So right now I'm looking at all of the iPad apps. Now, there is a catch to this. The developer has to allow it to be installed on the Mac. So as an example, I have a Tesla. The Tesla app I cannot install on my Mac. And that's because for some reason Tesla doesn't want it on the Mac. That's fine. It's it's up to the developer. But look for that app. I do not see it here. That's a bummer. But essentially what you can do, and you can try any one of these for the iPhone and the iPad. So I'm going to go with, let's see, these are calls. Who makes that again, Frank?
Robo.
Yeah. Robo.
Yeah.
Robo.
You had said that, that's why you thought it would be good.
Yeah, they're great.
Can I just, I'm going to say one thing. The Robo is for the phone calls, correct?
No, they have a text one too. So
because I was at your last lesson and I installed everything in my phone. And it turns out that this one guy with he doesn't have a public phone number. He could not get through to me. I could not receive his call. It blocked
Right.
it.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately you'll run into something, like that. With these robocallers, you shouldn't run into that too often because it only blocks phone numbers that are known spammers. So I say that you shouldn't. But what you can try, Frank, is one of these other ones. It looks like they are one of those that do not allow it to be on the iPhone. But as an example, I'll just go to this. We don't want to spam. We want to text. Let's see here. Robo text. And spam caller, spam. We don't want calls. We want text. How about text killer? iPhone and iPad. Make sure you do that. And anyway, I'll just show you how this works. Look for the app that you want. And I don't know if this will work. It's just something to try. If you have an M1, when I click on Get, you can see it is installing it. I'm going to sign in here. And it is installing it on my iPad. Oops, yes, I want to use Touch ID. I'm sorry, it's installing it on my Mac. It's going to place it in the Applications folder. So as far as my Mac is concerned, this is just another app. You're going to see it's right there in my Applications folder. So when I click on this, it opens up, and there's the app. Again, I'm not sure if this will work, but you can find a text killer app. I'll look for one also and see if I can find some. Well, my main computer isn't an M1, so I can't do this on the M1 on my main computer. But what you're able to do is install your iPhone, iPad app on the Mac and see if that works. So basically, see if you can find a text killer app. Not sure if it'll work, but it's worth a shot.
But I'm not sure exactly what I did that I don't get any messages.
Okay, so what you'll want to probably with that is in the Messages app, we have here iMessage. I would make sure that Enable Messages in iCloud is turned on, and also make sure that you're signed in. Maybe you're not signed in.
Okay, I took it off that. I thought if on my computer, I took it, I said it wasn't enabled, figuring that then it wouldn't, I wouldn't get any messages on my Mac.
Right. Yeah.
And that's wrong. Is that true? Or
you will not get any. Yep. Mm-hmm. Because the Mac, that's why I'm not sure if those spam killers, I'll tinker with it a little bit. I won't be able to test it too much. But those spam killers, basically texting relies on your phone number for the most part. Because that's how they text you through your phone number. Right. Now, texting the Messages app on the Mac and the iPad and the iPhone can also receive text via email messages. So, but you don't receive spam. It's always through a phone number, kind of thing. So, I'll see if I can find something on that and try that a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next, we have Debbie asks, what are my thoughts on a large curved monitor versus multiple monitors? This is actually a good question, and it's actually kind of relevant with me because that's what I was looking at when she emailed me. I'm just like, oh, that's kind of what I'm looking at too. A larger curved monitor as opposed to a dual monitor. If you look at my setup here, let's see here. If you can see my setup, hopefully. There's my setup. You're going to see, it's a little jittery there. There's my dual monitor. I don't know why it's jittery. But, I have my Thunderbolt monitor here and then my Mac here. And I'm kind of shying away from the idea right now, save a little bit of money. But earlier, this Mac was way over here, and I had my camera in here. So it really, it wasn't a good setup. Oops, nothing broke. it wasn't a good setup for me. And I thought maybe what I should do is just have one long monitor, a wide monitor, and some of them are curved as opposed to two dual monitors. So I watched plenty of YouTube videos on the advantages and disadvantages of dual monitor versus a single monitor, and from what I understand or what I got out of it, and it might have been just because I wanted to have a curved monitor or a wide monitor, is people like the wide monitors as opposed to dual monitors. The reason why they like them is it's less messy. You just have one monitor. And you can fit more. You can fit things. She wants to fit things side by side, so you can fit a window here and a window here side by side. You don't have to. When you have a dual monitor, you can place a window in both monitors, but you're going to have the seam there and different colors possibly if they're not calibrated right. My MacBook Pro is a Retina display. This Thunderbolt display is an older display. It is non-Retina. Now, luckily, my eyes are old enough to where I don't care. But some people, especially if you're a photographer, that might matter. And with photographers, they prefer a single monitor because you calibrate one monitor as opposed to calibrating two monitors. People in video like a single monitor, wide monitor, because then they get the timeline that goes all the way across the monitor so they can look at more of their timeline. And when I'm talking about a wide monitor, these monitors here, if we were to look at this again, this Thunderbolt monitor here is what they call a standard, it's a 27-inch. It's even what Apple's new 27-inch is. And it's, I think, it's 16:9 aspect ratio. So it's a standard aspect ratio. With the wider monitors, it's no longer 16:9. They have two different sizes. I believe it's 24:9. So basically what you're going to get is, it's going to be this high, but instead of being this wide, it's going to be this wide. So you can fit more on there. It's not any taller, but it's going to be wider. So it's a ultra wide or something like that. And then they even have a wider one, which is like 34:9. So you get the skinnier. So think of a photograph. What it does is it basically puts it into a panoramic kind of thing. You're going to see very wide, not very tall, but very wide. So you could place 4 documents side by side with one of those ultra wide monitors.
Do you get any distortion?
No. From what I've read, everybody's, and photographers, especially and videographers, they don't want any distortion. And
that's what I am. Yeah.
They seem to really like the idea because it's a single calibration, and like say with videographers, it's just a single timeline that they can go span all the way across that monitor. So the short answer is, I'm not going to switch yet. I bought a new chair, and it's a bar height type thing, so I sit a little bit taller. I can put my desk a little bit lower, and now I can move my camera, and I got a nice little setup here again. So I'm going to hold off on it. But if I were to do it, and when I do it, and I believe that I will go with a wide monitor, possibly curved. There's no difference between the wide monitor and a curved monitor. One is just straight, and the other one is just curved a little bit. I would probably go with a curved just because I can. But if the reason why people like to go with dual monitors, like in what my case here is it's very easy to open up an app full screen on one monitor and then work in another app on the other monitor. So if if you like to do that kind of thing, the dual monitor is really a beautiful setup for that, because I can just switch over to my one monitor here. I could open this up in full screen and then do everything I want on this one here while this one's in full screen. I don't know why it's all jittering.
Hey,
Sorry
can you
about
hear
that.
me?
So
Dan?
yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's Mike Gerber. I'm driving. I have a quick question though on monitors. Shouldn't you also consider like True Tone and like the Retina thing and whatever? I just went up to an iMac 24 and it's smaller than my old 27-inch Mac. And I love the 24 because it's just so much sharper, and my eyes have gotten older. So I don't really notice that it's smaller. So I think one thing with monitors obviously is the resolution and And obviously, what you said, you know, when you're photographer or whatever, and maybe even the environment you're in. Are you in a dark area or a light area or whatever? You know.
Yes, all good. So what I would recommend doing is when you buy it, make sure that it has a loose return policy. Just buy local, blah blah blah. I'll try to buy from a Best Buy, kind of thing. But we all know Amazon is really the best as far as returns go. So buy it from Amazon using Prime or whatever, or make sure that you have a liberal return policy, and absolutely try it, because you're right. Like you said, the Retina display with your older eyes, you like that better. In all honesty, with my eyes, I can't tell the difference between the Retina display and this. I can a little bit, and this Thunderbolt display, which is 14, 15 years old. So it's really just a matter of perspective. I mean, everybody's a little bit different. So I don't personally need a Retina display, but other people, depending on their eyes and the lighting and everything else, it might be a better fit. And with True Tone, if you're if you're a photographer, you probably already know this. True Tone could change the tone of the photos, and you don't really want to do that. But for everyone else, what it will do is it'll change the tone of the display based on the ambient light. So if it's really bright out, it'll make it a little bit bluer. If it's as it gets darker, it'll make it a little bit more yellow. Just like we like in our home lights. I think HomeKit actually does this with Hue lights. Apple's HomeKit. During the day, if you have a light that can change color, it'll be white, bright light white, and then at night it'll turn into that incandescent yellow. Because that's what our eyes like, and that's what the display will do as well. So yeah,
you should be able to turn that off.
Yes, you should be. Yep, and you can do that in the displays. If I go to my Mac here, and I have a second monitor hooked up to this, and if I go to my system preferences here and we go to displays, you're going to see I have display settings, and where is it? Oh, I have it probably calibrated. Oh, there it is, True Tone.
True Tone was, okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and I have it turned off on this because when I record, I don't want it to change color if I'm recording during the day or the night. So everyone has their own reasons for doing that. On my iPad, I absolutely do have it on. But on the Mac here, I don't want it on because I need to have a consistent color. If I record at 9 in the morning or 9 at night, people don't need to see that difference. So I have to have that turned off on my MacBook Air here. So it works different for every situation. Mm-hmm. But short answer is, those wide displays seems to be all the rage. I think they were more expensive a few years ago, so everyone was like, eh. They are getting now to the point where they're inexpensive and about the same price as a monitor, a standard monitor. So I think you're seeing a lot more people going to that. So, give it a shot. I would, just, get it from somewhere that has a little bit more of a liberal return policy. Try it out. Try before you buy, and make sure it fits with what you want. And what we did at the school, actually, is we bought two different monitors, one from Dell and one from, because we had to buy a bunch of them, and one from Dell and one from LG, and we put them side by side. Basically exactly what I'm talking about, and we determined that we liked the Dell better. We didn't like that we liked the Dell better. We wanted to go with the LG, but the Dell was cheaper, and they had a USB port on the bottom of it, so the teachers could plug in their iPhones to it, and so we ended up buying a Dell, a bunch of Dells. So it kind of hurt us, but.
What do you think of the new monitor that Apple's selling?
I hear mixed things about it. Well, I won't even say that. I hear bad things about it.
I hear bad things too. Yeah.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
The Wall Street Journal didn't give it a very good review, but DP Review did an extensive, deep in the weeds review, and they like it.
Well, here's where, and DP Reviews is pretty good. Here's the thing that what I've read about it. The sound on it, amazing. I haven't seen one in person. I have no idea. Amazing. The screen itself, of course, Apple makes good screens. No one has complained about the color and all that. It really is. It really is good. I think where people are really disappointed is that camera. Now, Apple says that they can fix it with software. But across the board, everybody says that camera, it's supposed to be a 12 megapixel from the iPad, kind of thing. And I've seen plenty of videos on it, and people consistently are saying it's bad. But it's software. I mean, the thing has, if somebody did a teardown on it already, and basically it's an iPad in the back of it. That thing's powered by an iPad.
But of all the things that you were going to have crappy on a monitor, I think the camera is the thing I could live without.
Yeah, right.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I can buy I have a J5 Create camera that is beautiful for my Mac Mini, and it was $40. I'd be more concerned about this thing. This Apple monitor has a lot of calibration and stuff like that. The problem is that it's expensive compared to what you can get from ISO and NEC and stuff like that.
Right. Yep. And I think once they get that camera figured out, which Apple says they will, they can fix it within software. Oops, we got somebody coming up there. They can fix it within software.
New voice message. You have 24 saved voice messages. First voice message.
We're going to mute everyone here, and if you need to talk.
March 24th at 6:37 p.m. from...
Okay, there we go. So if what people are, if they get that camera figured out, which I think that they will, it's Apple. They'll do something. No monitor has a 12 megapixel camera, and that monitor also has that center stage. Some of you have heard me talk about that. I find that technology, center stage, absolutely amazing. And if they can get that up and running, I mean, it's running on there, but it's not real good. But it's as I. Like right now, I have a digital SLR. It's a nice camera, with a lens that I can pull off, and this, that, and the other. But the problem that I have is you're going to see that I'm off center here a little bit because I just start moving and kind of thing. If I had that 12 megapixel camera on, oh God, I'm talking myself into that monitor. But if I had that monitor, that camera would follow me around, so I would always be in the center no matter what I do, And that's what's really cool about that center stage. And no other monitor has that. No other monitor has a 12 megapixel camera. So, once they get that out, and I think, the general consensus is wait to make sure that Apple has it figured out. Because it's a nice monitor, but is it $1,500 nice right now? It's questionable. No. Yep. So,
Well, right. Can't you use the camera on the iPad for the selfie camera? You could mount it up there, and
you could. Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And there's a nice app, Camtasia, that you can download. If you have an old iPhone, you could use that as a camera. And the iPhones have a great camera in them as well.
Right.
And then it uses the portrait mode and all that stuff. So, it's relatively inexpensive. Camtasia. No, not Camtasia. I have it. It is...
Camo.
What is it?
Camo, C-A-M-O.
Yes, Camo, C-A-M-O. Camtasia is the screen recording software. So, yeah, Camo.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah?
I've been watching the YouTube videos, too. It's Michael again. And I think that studio thing, the monitor, is paired with the Mac Studio and all that. Apple, I think, is filling the middle niche. It's for creators and people that do YouTube for a living and whatever.
Yep.
People probably more than you. Well, I don't know about you, but me and other people at home. So I still would like to see Apple come out with a under $1,000 monitor. You don't think that's going to happen? Something more for the consumer.
I absolutely agree. That studio setup, it's overkill for me too. Absolutely. But, it is that middle of the ground where, some people aren't going to go out and buy a Mac Pro for multiple thousands of dollars. And that new Studio Mac that they have, or Mac Studio, seems to be a killer machine, really good machine for the money, for what it does. For people that need that, and we're talking artists where they, might have, audio files or video files and 20 video files that they have to stack and Final Cut Pro, and that thing just handles it like it's nothing. In my case here, even though I have 5 cameras here on this thing, my 16-inch MacBook Pro Intel seems to handle it just fine. Now, I have to close Final Cut Pro. I have to do a couple of things. I probably wouldn't have to do that if I had one of those. But if I had an M1, I bet you I wouldn't have to do that either, just a standard M1. So you're right. That Mac Studio is for more, the people that need that extra oomph. And 9 out of 10 people don't need that extra oomph, if not more. So yes.
My wife and I were laughing at the videos, because the Mac Studio is compared with the Mac computer or whatever. So it's paired up with that. The people reviewing are the people who are going to buy it.
Yeah.
They do that professionally,
Yeah.
But you and me and whatever, it's great to watch that, but it's really meant for people who are doing, I think, professional YouTube stuff.
Yep, exactly. Professional YouTube, professional musicians, anything like that. But it'd be way overkill for what I'm doing,
Yeah.
And back on the monitor, I would love to see a sub $1,000 monitor. I would love it, But I don't know if Apple, this Thunderbolt display that I have here, back 5, 6, 7 years ago, I think I paid $1,200 for it. And their cinema display, when they first came out with that, was $2,000. Apple and their monitors, they don't have a track record of anything under $1,000 for the most part. So, okay, so that's I think the wide monitors are actually pretty interesting, and I would personally, if I were to get new monitors, I'd be looking at those. So yes, I think it's a good bet that someone would like it. What is the easiest way to get photos and videos from an iPhone to a laptop? Kind of a trick question here because the easiest way is iCloud. I don't know if is Marie with us? No? Okay. So Marie, if you watch this later on, the easiest way is to use iCloud Photos, and basically what that will do is when you take a photo on your iPhone, it'll move it into the cloud, iCloud, and then from there, your Mac, being that it's using iCloud, will see that photo and it'll go right into the Photos app. It'll go right into the Photos app on the iPad, that kind of thing. So to me, that's the easiest. It's seamless. You don't have to do anything except turn it on. Now, there is a little added cost to it because you will probably have to buy more storage from Apple, but you can get more storage for as low as 99 cents a month. And I think 2 terabytes is $9.99 a month. So it's not terribly expensive. You can also use Dropbox, but then you're looking at that added cost again. I believe Google will do it too, but if you're going to go with the cloud like that, I personally would stick with Apple. It's a couple of buttons. If I go to my Mac and we go to my Photos app, I know where Photos, and you're going to see all I have to do is just turn this on, and all of a sudden everything will be stored on in the cloud, and I'll be able to access anything. If I go to my iPad and iPhone, on my iPhone here, I just go to Photos in the Settings app. Let's see here, and I turn on iCloud Photos, do the same thing on the iPad, and then everything will just work. That's pretty much all you have to do on those devices, and it works well. I've been using it for years, and I have about 27,000 photos now, and it just works. I haven't lost anything. It works really well. So that's the easiest way. Now, if you don't want to do that, another way is to use Airdrop. And with Airdrop, basically what you would do is, I'm assuming you have a Mac. If you don't have a Mac, this won't work for you. But if you have a Mac, you just make sure that Airdrop is enabled. So I go to Airdrop here, make sure that I'm discoverable. And if you just want to go to everyone while you transfer photos and then turn it back off, you can do that. So just temporary. But basically, you have to make sure they are discoverable. And then when you go to your iPhone, let's see here, go to your iPhone and you open up your Photos app, what you can do is go to Share down on the bottom here. And if I go to Airdrop, you're going to see my Mac. All I have to do is just click on this and it'll airdrop over to my Mac. Anything that I have selected, photos or videos. That works really well for large files, particularly. We tell kids to use this at the school quite a bit because they don't have Apple IDs at the school. So AirDrop is the key for school for that kind of thing. And then the third way is we talked about this a while back, and this could work if you have a PC as well, I think. iMazing.
It's hard to connect.
So, iMazing. This is an app that you can download. Yeah, so it does work on Windows as well. Basically, you download this app, and I think I have it. Once you download it, what you are able to do, let me continue the trial here. I should see my devices here. But if I were to plug in my, because these devices are plugged into my other computer. If I were to plug in my iPhone to my Mac, basically it would show up here and I could download all of the files, all of the music, all of the documents, whatever I want to select. I just select music, or I select movies, or I select photos, and I'm able to download them. This is a paid app, but it's been around for a while, and it's, it seems to be well liked, and in my tests it works well. And this is iMazing. Just Google iMazing. So those are the three ways. iCloud is the easiest. You did ask what was the easiest, so I would say the easiest is iCloud. But
can't you just connect your iPhone to your Mac or your PC and it shows up as a drive?
You could. You can. Yes.
Yeah.
Good point. Let me. Can I unplug this? Where is that plugged into? It's plugged into the back of my monitor. We're going to see what we got here. Hopefully I won't screw anything up. We'll see. All right. Looks like I unplugged the right cable, so we're good. Now, oh crap, it's USB-C. Oh, I can do it here. Yes, everyone, yes, it's USB-C. It has its issues. I'll go with that. I like it. I like that everything is going to it, and you can do a lot with it. But it's a long time coming. But USB-C also is a little bit of a pain. USB-C can do a lot more than standard USB. Let's just go with that. It's Thunderbolt. You can power multiple monitors off of it. You can charge an iPhone off of it. You can charge a computer off of it. Basically, if you like with this MacBook Air, it has 2 ports. Both of them are USB-C. That's where I can get my second monitors. I can plug in external hard drives. That's how I power it. So it does a lot. And it supports Thunderbolt 3, which is really fast. The problem with USB-C is if you don't have the right cable, you're screwed. This camera that I have, this overview camera here, needs to have a USB-C high-speed 3.1 cable that plugs into. It can't plug into a hub. So it just everything's just a little finicky with USB-C. If you're using just a standard hard drive, you're going to be fine. But with some of these third-party things, it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So, all right. So I got my iPhone plugged into my MacBook Air here, and you're going to see I have iPhone here. And basically what I would do is I would go to Photos. Now I'm using iCloud, so I can't download it using this app. But if, I can't think, let's see here, is it Marie? If she was not using iCloud, yes, she'd be able to access her photos here, and then she could download them. So absolutely. And iMazing, let's see here, don't check, yeah, and continue trial. So with iMazing, what you can do is also get your messages. You can get a lot more with iMazing than you can with the Finder. The Finder can do your photos and videos, which is perfect. That's what she asked. Thanks. So whoever suggested that, thank you. Because you can do it that way. This just gets you a little bit more. So I can just go to my photos here. And, whoops, do that. That's later. I just go over to my photos here. It's loading them all. And now I can just go and export them out. Easy peasy. If I want to go to my messages, it's loading all my messages. And then I can export all those messages out too. You can't do that with the Finder. So you get a little bit more with this, but it is a paid app. So try it with the Finder first.
It's backing up your phone though, isn't it?
Yeah, it has, right. It has, I've not used this app. Before it can get your messages, it has to back it up. And then I believe it extracts it from the backup. I have no idea, but that's what it does. So I'm just going to quit it. But here you could just go to your photos and download them, and it should work just fine. So thank you, whoever suggested that. All right. Next.
Dan, just out of curiosity, your photo, of course, when you're in your little circle, is perfectly synced. And when you go to the large format, you're out of sync by probably 2 seconds or so, which makes it a little bit hard to follow.
My audio is out of sync?
Always.
Audio and video.
When I go to...
The audio's right, the video's.
Yeah, audio is okay. The video is just out of sync with your...
This here?
Your lips are out of sync.
When I'm talking in this format here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although now you're okay.
I thought I had that fixed, so thank you.
That's perfectly
Yeah, you're okay now.
Actually,
okay
I think
now.
once you unplugged your other screen...
But when you go up to the other, when you go to...
Oh, when I go to this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The circle.
Well, I don't use this one. So, and there's something funky going on anyway, because you'll see it flash every once in a while. So,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with this one, and I'm
Yes.
okay with this one. Everything's
Yes.
out of good.
Yeah,
in
now
sync?
it is. Yeah.
Affirmative. Yeah. now
Perfect.
it is.
That's that's the main one that I want, or should I say, main one? I can't. I'm trying to get myself out of sync. All right. Anyway, I tried.
This must be my computer then is lagging, because you're with the largest picture, you're still out of sync.
Yeah.
With the
Now
smallest
I will say when I was trying to figure this out, I battled this for like 3 or 4 months, and there still might be something I need to do. There's a lot of little things with the issues with things that are going on here, but it was inconsistent. With the hardest thing is when you're doing any kind of troubleshooting is inconsistency, and this has been so inconsistent because some people it's just fine, and then other people there's a delayed, and it's consistently inconsistent.
But wouldn't you then diagnose it? Wouldn't you then diagnose it as the different services? Like,
Well, that's
if you're
why
on
I
wireless,
yep.
If you're on an Ethernet, you should be okay.
And
But
yep.
the wireless
And
is going nuts.
there is some of you have heard me talk about this. There's a lot of issues going on with Zoom. Now Zoom has recently upped the bandwidth a little bit, but they in order to get the best bandwidth, what they recommended is one of my attendees needs to be in full screen. Then what it will do is it'll pull the full bandwidth. So there's all these little tricks that you have to work with in Zoom to make it all work. And most people don't have to deal with this. When I go, to just my standard camera, you saw at the very beginning I switched cameras. I'm on a screen sharing camera. So that's why I can go to my Mac here and you can read everything. If I were to do this without the screen sharing thing, we all know how screen sharing works in Zoom, or you've seen how screen sharing works in Zoom. If I were to just go to the regular camera, this would be far blurrier. It's a lot
Right,
less.
it would be low res.
Low res, yep. So when you go into that high res, that's where these problems start coming in, yeah. I don't know. It seems to be working for some and not for others. It's a tough one to figure out. So.
Most of us are fans of the old Japanese or kung fu movies anyway.
Right? I have a friend who does an online business, and we were talking about customer support, customer service, and I would have handled something a little bit differently than the way that he handled something. So he's just asking, which is good. We bounce off of each other, learn from each other, and I sent him a animated GIF of grasshopper, follow my lead, grasshopper. So
yeah, with that kung fu.
Yeah. All right. That was I think
you just got rid of the other thing, which is about you just slided it.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back because I added that question when we were talking, Frank. Let's see here.
That's my question, sort of.
There it is. Yep.
Okay,
And sorry about the typo.
That's right.
Oops.
No big
Went bad. All right. So just prior before we started here, Frank was talking about how he got his, the spam killer for the text kind of working. It works on the iPad and works on the iPhone.
Right.
But he also asked, can we delete multiple messages, or I'm going to say conversations, in the Messages app on the iPad?
Right.
So, and we can. I'll show you how you do this. Actually, I think, Steve, you might have sent something out on this in an email to me with a two-finger swipe. Does that sound familiar?
I can't remember the gentleman that does little tips post or something, but he's the one that I saw this on Twitter.
So I'll be able. So I'll create a lesson. I have this one in my lesson of things to do as well. So I'm looking at. Oh, my iPhone is not plugged in, so because I unplugged it. So we're looking at my iPad here, and I have these conversations. If you go with one finger on them, it scrolls up and down. But if you use two fingers on it, you can select. So basically all I'm doing, let's see if I can get this overview camera to work properly. So I'm just going to, sorry about the glitches again, one finger, swipes up and down. But if I go two fingers, it just selects them. Now what I'm able to do is go down to the bottom here, and I can go and delete those. And if I can swipe all of them, and now I can deselect. Maybe I don't want to, select those. I believe I can even, I can go with two fingers. So I have, let's select all of them. I'm going to go done. I'm going to swipe down with two fingers, all of them. So now they're all selected. But let's say I didn't want to have these middle three here selected. I can take those two fingers and swipe down and do that. So you can, they don't all have to be contiguous or next to each other. So that's how you can delete multiple.
That is very cool.
How about on the computer? Can you do that on the computer somehow?
Not with a two-finger swipe. Not until Apple merges the operating system. But let's see here.
Is there another way? Because I got 100 of them that I'm taking off a few a day.
Well, you're not using messages and they're not in sync. If they were in sync, for those that are in sync, you can do it on the iPad and it'll disappear on the Mac. So this doesn't help Frank out, but for anyone else, that keeps them all in sync. But if we go to Messages app here, and let's see here, I'm going to try a couple things here. It looks like I'm trying a couple things here. I'm going to say no.
You got to do one at a time.
You got to do one at a time from what I can tell. Yep.
Maybe not in Messages, but in Mail, you can go to the top. Let's say you're looking in your junk folder and you've got 30 junk emails, but you want to visually look over them because occasionally a good one gets thrown in there and you don't want to delete that. But if you want to select multiple emails, so you go to the top of the list, click on the top one, then scroll down until you can see the very bottom, the 30th email, and then just while you're holding the shift key, click on it, and that'll select all of them.
So yeah, I have
Command A.
Command A. So selecting this doesn't work in the Messages app. So Frank, as far as I know, there's not a, this is what I was trying.
Yeah.
So
okay.
when you, generally speaking, and the reason I believe is the Messages app is actually an iPad app. You know, it's one of those Catalyst apps. But with selection, and we'll talk about selection here, a little bonus tip here, exactly what Steve was talking about. If I just click on one at a time, it selects one. I can also Command A, and it selects all. But let's say I wanted to select these three here. What do? Well, you can hold down the Shift key and select the first one, and then you select the third one, and it selects everything in between. So that's so I can go first one, and then I go down here. And then if you use the Command key, you can randomly, and you can use a combination of this. If I go and select all of these, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, so now all of these are selected. Now I go to the Command key, and I can deselect. That's really what you want to be able to do in the Messages app, Frank, but apparently you can't yet. We'll see. So,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's what I have for questions. You know, the people submitted. Let me take a look at the chat here a second. And Tom said the same thing. The audio is off on the on the sound a little bit. Oh, he had to leave, but let's see. One or more corrupted files. Let's see. I can get back to him on that. Email question. Sender's fonts come in too small for my husband to read on his 11 Pro Max. Do you have a way to see it larger? So Deborah, is this on an iPad?
No, this is on the iPhone.
iPhone? 11 Pro Max. Yep, that would be the iPhone. Okay, the sender's fonts in email. So what you want to do is you want to make the email larger on the iPhone, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right. I am going to disappear here because I'm going to plug my iPhone back into my display, and instead of fumbling around, so then I can show you my iPhone, and we'll see if we can figure out how this works. Hold on.
Thank you.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, I'm back. Okay.
Dan?
Yeah?
This is Jerry, Debbie's husband.
Yeah.
I'm also a member. Nice setup you've got.
Thanks.
Nice job.
Thanks.
I don't want to send you on a wild goose chase. We don't believe that this is possible to do on a regular basis. So if you want to save this for another time, you have to look at it a little while. Understand that we've researched it a little bit. We can't find an answer.
Okay. And yeah, my phone is not showing.
There is a way to do it. You just make your type bigger.
Do you want to make the type bigger for all of iPhone or there we go. Or
we did.
Okay.
But it doesn't work in email.
It doesn't. And are you using the Mail app for email?
Yes.
Okay.
On mail this is on mail we receive, where people send it in with a small font. It's impossible for me to read and impossible to figure out how to make bigger.
Let me look into that because I do not see it in the settings. Okay. Yeah, we'll look into that.
It definitely can be done, Dan, because I have a friend, when I picked up his iPhone to look at an email, I saw like one letter. You know what I mean? It was like, I said, whoa, what's this about?
Yeah, but you got to go to the, well, what's the name of that?
Possible to go to Zoom.
No, the on the phone, it's accessibility.
Right.
It's possible to make it bigger, but then you can't read it all in one place. So it doesn't run into the next line. It doesn't reformat. It only makes the letters bigger, like a magnifying glass.
Has anyone played around with the accessibility zoom, where if I tap it three times?
Zoom will work, but it works like a magnifying glass.
Yep.
It doesn't reformat or reflow the text.
Right.
So
Then you have to kind of move the zoom window around a little bit to read it. Yep.
I've actually reached the point where I'm trying to even understand if there's another email application. Even though Debbie and I don't like to switch applications away from Apple at all, we can't find an answer to this.
Let me, I'll see if I can find anything out. It's from emails that you receive that you want to make larger to read, right?
Yeah, Debbie's convinced me to do
I think I have the answer.
Go for it.
I've had the same issue too because they use such small font when they respond back to, yeah, I get it.
But I think I may have the answer. It says go to settings, accessibility, then select display and text size, tap larger text for larger font options, drag the slider to select the font size you want. Wouldn't that work for you?
It doesn't, because it doesn't work in email. It does work through other apps, but not in email.
I think the reason may be email is formatted as HTML. So when, like when I create an email, you don't realize it, but the mail app or any mail app, I shouldn't say the mail app, but any mail app, when you're formatting and all that, it's putting a specific font size in there. So it doesn't adhere to the dynamic text rules that Apple uses for changing the text size. Essentially, when you slide that little slider around on the iPhone and the iPad, the app has to be built for using dynamic text. So if I were to build an app and I put a text in there somewhere, I say this can be changed by dynamic text, which means I cannot apply much formatting to it because Apple's going to go and change things. Like I said, email, because we have images in there and we get these fancy emails, this, that, and the other, those tend to be all HTML, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. Not that it's not possible, because we can do that on we can make the text larger and smaller in Safari, which is all HTML, but it'd have to be within the Mail app, much like Safari. So if I go to Safari here, and I'm looking at this page here, how to reset a Magic Keyboard, it's a little bit small, you're going to see I can tap on these two A's here, and what I'm able to do is make the text larger, and that's basically what you want to do for the Mail, correct?
That is correct, and that is the problem that you've isolated. I understand it.
So this is built into Safari, not necessarily built into Mail.
Well, it's built into the fact that it's doing text rather than dynamic text.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, I was able to, on my iPhone 12, going through accessibility and using the drag to increase the size, get my email up to very large. It worked for me fine.
Okay, so you went into accessibility here, and then where'd you go? Display and text size?
Yes.
Yeah.
And larger text, larger.
And that works for me too.
Larger text, and turn it on.
Turn that on.
And then slide as far as you want it.
Okay, we'll just go there. Go to my mail.
Go all the way to the right, and you'll see how far you can.
So there's an email.
Does that seem to work on another small text when you look at a different email?
Oh, look at that. Nicely done. Oh,
yeah.
Well, yeah, it seemed to. So if I make this smaller, looks like that. There we go. We'll make it as small as possible for those younger eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is, we'll start from the beginning here. Good find. Dale, he went to settings, and then you go to accessibility, and then you go to display and text size, larger text, turn it on, and slide it.
Thank you.
That looks like that works. Perfect. All right.
So you go to settings accessibility?
What's that?
Settings, accessibility.
Yep, settings, accessibility. Oops, now I got this is too big for me here.
No, I don't think it's accessibility, is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's where I found it. Mm-hmm.
Display and text size.
Right. Then when you go to where larger text.
Let's see here. I went to accessibility here. So we'll go here, accessibility. And then I went to display and text size here. You might be able to get to it from another spot. You know.
Right, and then larger text, once you're in there, larger text should be on.
Yeah, I turned it off. Yep, turn it on.
It takes you to the controls.
And then you can go down here to control it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now I go and try and open up a.
It does. Works for me. Thank you. That's a great find.
Yeah, that's great.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll also make a note for this and create a lesson on it, because that's a great find, so we can look it up later as well. So.
Very good find. I've been looking for that for months.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Kevin, I see your chat. I did not get any email from you. I was down to one email in my inbox before I started this, so I don't know what happened there. But let's see here. Where is the music file on an airplane? Stable to access my music. Yeah. So back on the file structure for an iPad, you're not going to be able to get to that music file. That music file.
No, I was.
Oh, you were?
No, I was. Right. So that's why I was asking, because it was confusing to me, because I did. The internet was free, but it was really just free TV and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, for instance, I couldn't access messages. You could pay for it, but I didn't.
Right.
What I had was free TV, free whatever, but I didn't choose to pay. So, but my music was there. So you don't know.
Right. It looks like your question, maybe what I'll do, you'll like this, is maybe what I'll do is one of my classes when I get back from Florida, I'm going to schedule a few classes. I'll schedule one on file management. So,
yeah, that's kind of one of my most sensitive issues, right? Because it goes back all the way to notability. And,
right.
And
so, and if you want to do some homework, email me, some of the questions that you have, and then what I'll do when I get back is I will create a class, and then we can kind of go from there. So,
okay, sounds good.
I think.
I do command, email, and all right. I think that that is it for our AMA. So thank you, everyone.
Dan, one quick question.
Yeah.
Did you get around to investigating ripping audiobooks on Monterey? We talked about that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think.
Yes. No, I haven't. I don't listen to audiobooks, so it's kind of tough for me. So what is it that you want to organize them in the music app? Was that
I go to the library and I take out audiobooks and I want to rip them into my Mac so that I can take the books back. Other people can check them out and I can read them at my own leisure without having renewal and all of that.
Right.
Then I erase them when I'm done.
I do have a library card. So I'm going to make a note of it here, and because I thought about that, creating a thing on people rent books or loan get books from the library. So I'll look into audiobooks as well. I've been kind of playing around with that. Well, I have an iPad. I have an iPad Mini that I've been reading. I no longer use my Kindle, and I use my iPad Mini, and that's what made me start thinking of that. So I'll make a note of it here and see what I can find.
Because the library's software that they have an audiobook section that you can use and download, which renews. But I go to the library and I get the CDs.
Okay.
And so I rip them.
Technically, I don't think you can do that for the reason that that's a licensing issue, that you're copying the CD. I understand. I'm not saying that you're doing anything, horrible, but I'm just saying that if to download it on your iPad is one thing. To get a CD and rip it onto your iPad from the library is that's a little tenuous. If you bought the CD, then you could probably do it. And the library probably has safeguards that people don't do that. I know ours does.
No, that's not what happens.
Not what happened?
No, it's the same thing as if you get a music CD from the library, you can rip it into your music file.
Well,
okay? And
yes,
the
you
same
can.
thing happens with the audiobooks. The audiobooks, when it was iTunes, no problem.
Okay.
Absolutely no problem.
All right.
It's that split that happened in the Monterey update that it doesn't put the tracks in order. It doesn't do any of the stuff iTunes used to do, which was automatic.
Right.
So you go to disc 1, it's disc 1. Go to disc 2, and you get the tracks. But now it's like it arranges all of the disc 1s and all of the disc 2 tracks and all of the 3 tracks, and it's not in order.
Right.
So it screws it totally up. That's all I'm trying to fix.
Yeah, nothing to do with the library. It's just a matter of how does the music app organize the books if you were to put them into the music app, the chapters or whatever it may be. Yeah, I put a note in here, how does it organize the tracks, and I'll see if I can find anything. I remember that now. We did talk about that.
And before you write out that text solution, there's a flaw. It increases the size of everything. So while it makes the text on the emails that are small larger, it increases the size of everything else on your device.
And you just want to have it on the email itself.
Not applications.
Okay. All right. Yep. Well, I'll see. I use the email client Spark, which is another class that I'm thinking of doing on because it's a great alternative to mail. I know people don't like to switch mail apps, and you can use either one. You can use both of them at the same time. In all honesty, I can open up Mail. I can open up Spark, but I'm going to see if Spark has something like that as well. It's a nice app and it has some features that Mail doesn't have. So
how do you spell Spark?
SPARK, like a spark plug.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. What Spark has on it, to throw it out there, what Spark has on it is you can snooze emails. So let's say somebody, and I do this for these classes, I have to give I'm a guest for Hawaii User Group in April. So Joan just sent me, some questions that people are asking. And what I did is, let's just say it's April 16. So what I do is I snooze that email, and it's going to come back into my inbox on April 14. So basically, I say, I don't want to deal with this right now, and then it'll come back. So, Mail app doesn't do that. Yeah. And also you can delay sending. So, what I will do at the school is, it could be on Friday, and I want to send out an email to someone. I will delay it until 7:30 or 8 o'clock on Monday morning because I don't want to send it over the weekend. I'm one of these people like the weekend is my weekend, kind of thing, and I don't want to throw that on to someone else. I know a lot of people, that will work through the weekend. I just there's no reason. This thing doesn't have to be taken care of right away. So you can delay sending as well. So there's a lot of cool little things with Spark. But one thing I don't know if it does is if you can change the text size. But I'll look into that because that's something I use on a daily basis. So
thanks for everybody trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dan, Michael, with a quick question for you before you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if the gang would want this or not, but you must have been doing these videos, and I've been with you since 2012 or 2011?
Yeah.
When did you start? Okay. Yeah. So now you've hit the 10-year mark and whatever. I'd be curious, maybe one class, you kind of maybe talk a little bit about, how you've seen things have progressed the past 10 years and maybe where do you think we're going in the next 10 years? Kind of more of a just where Apple's going in technology. I'd be curious to, what you thought 10 years ago and where we are now and where you think we're going to go in the future. It might be an interesting general discussion.
Right. No, that would be, instead of standard, maybe that could be something. I think that'd be kind of fun. Instead of just standard, AMA, type questions, we can just kind of do a little bit of how it has affected us.
I'd be curious what you think, where are we going with phones and technology.
Right. Yeah.
And where you think Apple went wrong, or I mean,
you know
10
what?
years ago,
Maybe what we
saying
do is we table this until the WWDC. That's going to be in June. They haven't announced it, but usually that's in June, and then we can see what iOS 16, iPad OS 16, and Mac OS, whatever it may be, San Francisco. And we can kind of get a hint of where Apple is taking it, and I think that'd be a great discussion for after WWDC. Yeah, let's do that. I think that'd be fun.
Dan, do you have time for one more question? Quick.
Dan?
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Go for it.
Back when you're talking about email being too big or too small, I used Mac Command Plus and Command Minus to make my text bigger and smaller. Can anybody else?
Well, that on the iPhone you can't do that.
Oh, you can't? Oh, okay. I'm on the Mac.
Yeah. Nope. This is with the iPhone. Yeah. Nice try.
Right.
Nice tip, though. But yep.
Command Plus and Command Minus will do that in Safari on web pages also.
Yeah.
But that's good controls to use in Mail and should work in Spark, any mail program.
Any mail program. Yep. I'm
also
going to try
posted
it.
In the chat, the link to the Spark app for those that want it. Take a look at it. And then also the other path to find dynamic text on iOS.
Cool. Thanks, Steve.
You bet.
Dan, do you have time for one more quick
one? One more, and then that's it.
Okay. I mail out the Apple User Group Bulletin once a month to our club. And the last two issues, they have been bouncing back if the recipient is an iCloud address. Everything else goes. Anybody else, Google or Yahoo or AT&T or whatever it is. But if it's an iCloud address, it bounces back.
That's tough. What
I just wondered if it's because there are a lot of links in the email itself.
It could be. So the way that, excuse me, I just had it where, so I use MailPoet to send out my emails on, every Tuesday you get an email from me, and if you want, you can get a daily email, stuff that I've added on it, but it's, completely opt-in. You have to select that you want that. And I try to be as transparent as possible, blah, 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 blah. And the people that send my email out said that I got marked as spam too many times. So they are no longer sending my emails out. Now I've had they wanted to see some of my text that I put in there, and they've re-enabled it and this, that, and the other. And it was just like, wow, how can that be? I'm about as transparent as I can get because I hate spam. So it's one of those things where it's a constant battle to fight for people that send emails. And what Apple might be looking at in your case, being that iCloud, is too many, like you said, too many. I don't know, but they could be saying too many links. This must be spam. I'm not going to send it, or this person isn't going to receive this email. What you could try to do is see if it sends it from a Gmail. Just try a sample with some of those. See if it sends it from a different account. And
I've sent it. We have two Gmail accounts for the club, and I have a Gmail account for personal, and I have a Charter account, and I've tried all four.
And it does the same thing.
Does the same thing. So I figured it must be something within the.
Do this. Send it. Send if it's okay. Send your newsletter to me, danwasink@mac.com, or Dan Wasink. Send it to both, danwasink@mac.com, and then send it to danwasink@icloud.com. See if I'll let you know if I get it. Follow up with me and say, hey, did you get it? And I'll let you know if I got it. I don't have a clear answer on that. It's tough. Like I say, it's a moving target. It really threw me when they said that I was marked as a spammer, and like there's no way I'm spamming anybody because I hate it myself. So,
right.
Yeah, it's a moving target, unfortunately, because of the spammers. So anytime you send out bulk emails, it gets a little tough. So.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Well, thanks everyone, and
thank you.
We'll see you in a couple weeks. I did record a bunch of my recordings, so I will be working 2 to 3 hours. We're going to get up in the morning. Beth and she can work remotely as well. So this will be our first foray into kind of working remotely. I have to do all my recording here, but I'm recording everything, so you still should be able to get daily stuff from me and all that good stuff. But otherwise, I'll be back in about a week and a half, and we'll get together then.
Have a great trip to Florida.
Thank you.
Great trip.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. We'll see you.
Dan, Florida is south.
Yes, Florida is south. One of these days, I'm going to get out west. We go to Florida a lot. But Beth and I have been talking. It's kind of one of those things. So I'm going to stop recording here.